without any further ado, I'll 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 open for an approval of the agenda.
I move to approve the agenda.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And did everybody have a chance to read the minutes? And if so, any changes or comments? All right, then I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion, we approve the minutes.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And aye. Okay, there's no consent agenda, no administrative session, so we'll jump directly into the legislative session. Josh, that's you? Josh's hair. You people with hair.
I mean,
I'm thinking that's
I'm
a
jealous. That's a compliment to you. A little bit of a jealous
I'm
compliment.
no hunter, but I can hold my own.
Easy.
I don't.
That's the truth.
I don't know. You're pretty close. Ralph keeps it going. Tyler's got it. I'm only baldy up here.
Oh,
Make sure we get that in the minutes.
Yeah,
But you've got a great
when Kay left.
That's right.
So tonight we are here to make a recommendation to the City Council on a development agreement for LGI homes in Lakeside. LGI is all ready to go and is actually already going in some phase that we'll reference here tonight, and they're a blink away from final plat approval and starting work on their 15 acres. If you headed up 2200 West past McDonald's and Love's, you'd run smack into their site. And hopefully by next year, this time, you'll be able to drive through. The development agreement comes into play for a number of reasons. The first is that under Utah state law, a number of years ago, cities were prohibited from imposing design regulations on single-family or single-family attached housing, except for a couple of caveats. If those regulations were part of a zoning, in a zone that was requested by a property owner, or they granted an increase in density, or they were codified, or they were agreed to through development agreement. So in this case, we wanted to, across Lakeside, we've wanted to double cover. So first, LGI, well, actually the previous owner requested the zone be applied to this 15 acres immediately after we applied the zone to the rest of Lakeside. And so we've checked that box, and now LGI is entering into a development agreement that states that they will comply with the design regulations of the Lakeside Landing Special District overlay. The rest of the development agreement is pretty much a technical agreement outlining obligations on behalf of LGI and the city. There is a specific provision related to their completion of a pressurized irrigation off-site project, which will run essentially from along their frontage all the way east to Merritt Academy, to the east side of the tracks by Merritt. And under state law, we would generally not be able to withhold certificates of occupancy on their building permits just because they didn't have pressurized irrigation. It wouldn't technically be considered something we could hold the ACO over. But we don't have, based on our current water modeling and our current water master plan, we don't have the ability to continue to charge pressurized irrigation systems with culinary water like we've done in other areas of the city where we have lines in but they're not connected to the main, essentially. And so LGI, moving first, has really taken on the responsibility of bringing the pressurized irrigation trunk line over under the freeway, under the rail. It's a big project. And they want to be able to move concurrently. They'll probably be done with it long ahead of this becoming an issue, but we just wanted to make sure that both parties understood that we wouldn't be issuing any certificates of occupancy until that there was actual water in the pipe. They are also, this agreement describes improvements to the Westfields lift station. We are essentially doing that. We're handling the procurement and the funding of some pump upgrades and some other ancillary work there. But this lays out that relationship. The development agreement also lays out the reimbursement agreement and the reimbursement mechanism. It lists all of the elements that are reimbursable. So basically everything that's off-site to their project that's in addition to what they need, or on-site work like the line in Center Street for water needs to be bigger than they need it based on our plan to supply the rest of the area. So we cover the difference essentially through impact fees. So the reimbursement agreement specifies how much the value of those projects to be reimbursed and how those costs are to be reimbursed. And the mechanisms are really two ways. First are impact fee credits. So whenever LGI comes in and applies for a building permit, once that's approved and they do what we say, when they pull their permit or they pay for their permit, they would pay impact fees for water, sewer, storm drain, etc. In this case, we will have issued them credits so they can come in and say, hey, we have a house worth of credits for pressurized irrigation. We don't have to pay that. So we're essentially reimbursing them by crediting them what they would have paid in impact fees. There are not enough impact fee credits in the project to cover the costs of all of the work they're doing. So the remainder of that balance owed will come to them through payments from the reimbursement payments from the impact fee funds on a yearly basis as there are funds available in those. So there are money available in those funds and as they are in order to receive those funds. We're also working eventually to construct a regional stormwater detention basin in the lakeside area. But prior to that being constructed, LGI is implementing some temporary storm drain basins on their inside of their project. And the development agreement establishes their obligation to take those out of service within a certain period after the city has completed the installation of the regional detention basin. That is essentially the primary elements of the development agreement, and we've reviewed it. We've spent, I think the development agreement the staff report I pulled up to start working on the staff report for this meeting was from August or September of 2022. So we've been at it a while, but we're finally here and happy to be here. And this has gone through all of the reviews on both sides for the applicant and for us, legal and finance, the engineering. Everybody's been a part of it, and we're happy with it. And we recommend, staff recommends, Planning Commission recommend approval to the City Council. Are there any questions for me?
Thanks, Josh. Any questions?
Do you have, on the impact fees, are those that you said when the funds are available, or is that because they're available because other projects are paying, they're going to utilize that, or how does that?
There are some funds where we actually are still covering debt service, like in the sewer, the wastewater fund. We're still covering debt service on the bond that we issued to do upgrades and expansions to the plant in 2008 or 2009. So until we can't pay them, they're not in first position in that case. In other impact fees, we either have other projects that may or may not be ahead of them. So it's essentially the first person to put in a project is the first person to get repaid. In this case, they're in a good position at the moment in most of those areas. But we can't predict ahead of time what the impact fee fund balance will be at every year when it comes to that period of that disbursement time.
So are they going to not pay impact fees at all for the project?
They will not pay impact fees on any utility that they have credits on up to the value of their reimbursement. And in some cases, their reimbursement exceeds the amount of impact fees they owe, so then they'll take the rest as repayment over time.
So how does the city handle that offset in the impact fees then, if they're not gonna be collected?
Because they are building impact fee projects.
They're doing the work,
Right. They're doing the project we would have used impact fees to pay for.
and then they're gonna be guaranteed to get it back when it's.
Correct.
completed. Great, sounds like a good partnership.
They're building our project for us because they want to do it sooner than we were going to do it, essentially.
Perfect.
Any other questions? Thanks, Josh.
You're welcome. Thank you.
No more questions. Applicant, did you have anything? Thank you.
Yeah, my name's Spencer Conley. I'm with LGI Homes, and I can just say I'm really excited to be here. As Josh mentioned, it's been a couple of years coming, so we're looking forward to actually getting work underway. So, yeah, just kind of a quick overview. It's 15 acres. It's within the Lakeside Landing District. We're going to have 158 units in there. That is composed of single-family detached homes. We've got some twin homes and some townhomes in there. All of them are being designed to the city's architectural standards for the Lakeside Landing Overlay District. If Planning Commission recommends approval and then City Council recommends approval, we would plan to start construction the 24th of this month. So we're lined up, we're ready to go. We've got our, general contractor signed. In fact, they've already started the off-site pressurized irrigation work for this project that will serve not only our project, but the whole area of Lakeside Landing. So, yeah, so that's kind of it in a nutshell. As far as actual sales, like when somebody could buy a home, that would probably be summer of 2026. And so that's kind of the big picture with this project, and I'm happy to answer any questions if you have them.
Nothing?
I think we worked you over enough.
Yeah, yeah, 2.5 years is been a lot, yeah.
All right. Well, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Congratulations, hopefully. All right, if there are no more questions, we'll open it for a public hearing. Anyone?
Not seeing anyone coming to the podium, I move to close the public hearing.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, any other discussion that you want to have before we entertain a motion? All right. We'll entertain a motion then.
I move to recommend approval of the development agreement between Springville City and LGI Homes for developing property within the Lakeside Landing Special District Overlay.
All in favor?
Aye.
Oh,
Second it.
Oh, sorry. All in favor?
aye.
Oh, aye. Thank you. When do I get out of this? Next month? Out of this chair? All right. All right.
Yes.
Yes, thank you.
Well, that's when we typically call for elections.
Yes, I'm good with that.
That doesn't mean you'll get out of the chair.
Yes, it does. All right.
There's a few more votes than one.
Hey, Josh, just before we close it up, I was going to ask you, what is the latest on Allen's Corner?
The property owner has listed the property through Mountain West Commercial Realty, and they are listing it both as a potential redevelopment project in line with the approved site plan, and also listing it, which seems to be more of the push of actually the listing materials if you go and download the flyer, as a remodel and re-tenanting of the existing space. So that, speaking with the one of the agents a couple weeks ago. That was their take. They feel like they've got some pretty strong interest in the retail market. Our recent studies that we've commissioned as a city or that other entities have commissioned and shared with us would tell us that we do have some pent-up demand, and we've had good absorption of at least existing product. So that seems to line up. We're still working with the property owner and with Augie on facilitating anything we can do to keep the redevelopment project moving. But right now, I think they're out in the market, seeing what type of interest there is in either project, and it's really just been a case of the developer struggling to get the project off the ground from a financing standpoint.
Yeah.
As some of you may remember approving that site plan in October of 2023. So they're getting towards the end of the period which that site plan approval would remain valid. And they're still working.
Just a few months ago when we asked this question, I mean, they were just getting ready to demo on the west side of the property,
They
right?
started maybe May of last year. We did have a meeting with a contractor that they had retained to start demolition and site work. A permit file was started but never really advanced, and that's kind of the last we heard of that. They have submitted a building permit for one bank of townhome buildings, essentially to preserve their vesting in that approved site plan. But after a period of time of inactivity,
Even that goes away.
that building permit would expire and subsequently roll back the site plan approval as well. And at that point, it would just be like any other property with a zone on it. Somebody could bring us a site plan and we'd compare it to the code and do what we always do. In the case of the current project, if they were to bring that project back, under the current code, it really would be pretty quick because we haven't changed anything, but we are evaluating both streetscape standards, like you're aware. We've been looking at it since completing the reframing downtown plan, and also if there are provisions to the zone that we'd like to tweak. So we're continuing to kind of attack it from all angles and support the property owner and
When does it
help people
expire?
be informed. That is a tricky question because the last activity on the building permit would have been last month. So if no other activity on the building permit occurs, it would, as far as I've verified, it would be 6 months from last month. So it would be in September.
It's a tough time right now to get things going.
It is. It's we hear pretty regular feedback about the difficulty in financing in the multifamily market at the moment.
Really?
Interesting.
Stack multifamily.
Stack multifamily.
But single family is not as big of an issue.
No, everybody wants to build single family and single family attached product. That's why you just had the UBA Davies Design Build come to you and abandon 200 multifamily units at Lakeside to be able to do towns, twins, and singles.
Oh,
Wow. Yeah, that'll be interesting. Well, thank you, and it'll be interesting to see what happens there
Yeah, we'll see.
with the existing buildings. Could turn into something else.
We'll see. That we definitely need to do some work internally to understand the impacts of the zoning
Yeah.
on the buildings, because they're now non-conforming, and there are uses in the zone that would work in them, but there's also there's no more provision for a drive-through or certain other things that none of what in the material in the brochures shows a drive-through, but we're working evaluating how a retenanting and remodeling would
I think
intersect with the zone.
It'd be interesting to, and I guess we can to have this conversation at one of our evening meetings. Just, I don't know about the rest of you, but I'd love to understand right now where the zoning would be if the drive-through options are gone and other things are gone. I'd be curious what options there are out there and what we feel about those options.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Do we know who our new commissioner is?
Nope.
Wait,
Okay.
it's not the guy in the white hoodie.
Let's take him.
It's a scream.
All right.
Yeah,
Oh, it is?
that's my William.
Nice.
Oh.
Awesome.
Well, welcome, William. Do you want to come up and make any presentations? We'd love to hear something, man. Nothing?
He's never coming.
How old are you? You got this. 13.
13,
Good job.
So in 2 years and change, does he get to drive the Rover?
We hope so. Yes, there's already been some lessons, so it's showing, it's promising at this point.
All right. Unless there are any other questions for William,
No, I
entertain it.
move to close the meeting.
all in favor?
Aye.
I
Good night.
Oh,
Peace.